The snake in the grass, known as the Big Ten Conference, is trying to stage a coup to cancel the college football season. Within the next 72 hours, Power 5 ADs are having emergency meetings, and Big Ten is trying to convince many of them to go along with the fact that they want college football to be canceled. The perception that these people want you to believe is that safety comes first by either canceling fall sports or moving football to spring. No, it's not about safety. It's about money. Because fans will not be able to go to the games, or little fans at all will not be able to go to the games. They want to move spring in order to get closer to full capacity. Now, how is that not safe? The Mid-American Conference already did this and continued by saying they will still want to play football in 2021 while also playing in spring 2021. This is literally the exact opposite of safety is our first priority. Literally the exact opposite. What Power 5 conferences are also panicking about is players testing positive for COVID during the season. Now, it's very obvious if you look at the statistics that college-age adults should not be worried about getting COVID-19. Now, whether you like it or not, many people are doing the safe thing, including college football players, are doing the safe thing by wearing a mask, social distancing, because they want to see college football be played. And these players are no different. The most popular player in college football also agrees with this. People are just as much, if not more, risk if they don't play. Players will be sent home to their own communities where social distancing is highly unlikely, and medical care and expenses will be placed on the families if they were to contract COVID-19. Not to mention the players coming from situations that are not good for them, their future, and having to go back to that. Having football as a safe haven for so many people, we are more likely to get the virus in everyday life than playing football. Having a season also incentivizes players being safe and taking all of the right precautions to try to avoid contracting COVID because the season/teammates' safety is on the line. Without the season, as we've seen already, people will not socially distance or wear masks and take proper precautions. Now, I disagree with him on saying that going back home, because the players will not be going back home. They'll be staying in school during the fall semester, but we'll get back to that in a second. Now, Trevor Lawrence is not a doctor, I get that, but someone who has responded. Molly McGrath, who's a reporter for ESPN, said she just spoke with her dad, who is confirmed a research scientist and a doctor studying COVID. He believes that student athletes could be safer if they remain with their teams because they will be closely monitored and have more motivation to isolate and avoid social situations. As Lawrence said, most players don't come from privileged backgrounds. Playing college football means everything to them. And one of the things that really just pisses me off is that in the media, they take anecdotal evidence from social media, and that affects their biases. So stop looking at the videos of frat guys at spring break saying, I don't give a shit about wearing a mask or socially distancing. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Stop assuming that college football players have that same mentality. Because playing college football literally means everything to them. The majority of players don't come from privileged backgrounds where their parents can pay for medical bills and have a safe haven at home if schools, in fact, do get canceled and they are sent back home. Lorenzo Lingard Jr., a player for the University of Florida, he said, I want to play, even if we got to be locked in, nothing at home for me. He's basically saying, I don't care if I don't have to go out and party at bars or social events for 4 straight months. You can lock me into a bubble. I have nothing. This is it for me. I have to monetize my time in college and prove to NFL scouts that I can make it. And this is my opportunity. I just, finished watching the last episode of Last Chance U, the new season on Netflix. And there's a player on there who, long story short, he's looking for an opportunity to get a scholarship at the University of Hawaii as a preferred walk-on. Well, he was going to do that in the spring, but COVID happened and that all got canceled. And he's just waiting in lingo, and if there's no football season, he can't prove he gets a scholarship, and he has to go back to Oakland, California, living in his car. I mean, their livelihoods are on the line here. It's really more than just about I like playing football and it's fun. This next thing that I heard really kind of sums it up as to player safety, contracting COVID, and what's safer, not playing football or playing football. Ross Dellinger, who I've mentioned several times on this show, said, "I am not sure where this narrative came from that student athletes would be sent home from school. I expect some kind of summer workout plan to be implemented just in the fall. I realize not many came to Power 5 schools to play school, but they're still playing school." And Peter Burns of SEC Network says he was told from sources by Power 5 ADs that if college football season was canceled, kids would be able to stay on campus and continue their classes in person or online, and yes, do some type of practice and training. Now, this does make no sense, because if you don't trust college kids to make good decisions during the football season, one of the things that's, as Trevor Lawrence said, is making people make good decisions, especially college football players, by not going to parties, not going to bars, wearing a mask, socially distancing, is because they want to play football. Now, if you take that away from them, the one thing that's keeping them from going out and partying every night, they have no reason to sacrifice those things. But you're still keeping them on campus, except, so now they're going to be like every other college student. Because if there's no football season, they might as well just say, well, hey, fuck it, I'll just go out and party and just do whatever the hell I want, because, the thing that I've worked for my entire life has been, swept from under the rug. Now, and if you take away football, beyond just the football players, you destroy the rest of college sports for young men and women all over the country. LSU, Louisiana State University, 2016-2017 academic calendar year. And football made $56 million, basketball made $1.6 million, baseball made $569,000. And everything else lost money. Now, just for context here, that year, in 2016, LSU football fired its head coach and lost 4 games. Men's basketball had the worst season in their school's history and finished dead last in their conference. And baseball went all the way to the national championship game and lost. And look at the numbers. I'll put them up for you right here. Look at the numbers. Everything else lost money, and even though baseball was hugely successful, and look at how it would differ from football and men's basketball, but football specifically. If you take away football, you are destroying the opportunity for every other young man and woman in other sports looking to get a college education, looking for those same opportunities that many of the football players have. And lastly, the impact on local economies cannot be overlooked. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Tuscaloosa, Alabama said that they will go into an economic depression if they didn't play football this season. I think 1.7 or $175 million comes to their local economy directly from Alabama football. Now, Alabama football is huge in a small town, but imagine if other towns like Starkville, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Gainesville, Florida, Athens, Georgia. There's tons of those all across the country in Power 5, big cities and smaller cities. I don't think we can just ignore the fact that you're destroying the lives of young men and women outside of football, and you're destroying your local economy and the businesses of people who have to feed themselves and their families because of college football. And the last thing I'll say is this. I don't think sports media wants football to be canceled. I don't. Despite what people believe, they don't want sports media to be canceled because that affects their jobs as well. But at the same time, I know that fear and anger drives ratings a lot in the media. Now, it may be their bosses or their editors making them do this, which is probably true when it comes to headlines, but when I see headlines that are overwhelmingly fearful and negative all the time, you can't help but wonder why there seems to be so much pressure from administrators and presidents who seem to naturally cave into public pressure in the first place. And now they're wanting to cancel the football season. Now, maybe it's a combination of money and maybe it's a combination of public pressure, but you can't convince me the short-term effects that are positive outweigh the long-term effects that are overwhelmingly negative. You just can't.